What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is the Fantasy Football Fanatics podcast, the official podcast of thefantasyfootballfanatics.com. It is Friday, November 23rd. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Griffin Palmer, joined by nobody. You probably hear a difference in the audio again because I'm on the road, but best part is, shows must go on, and so here we are. Hope everybody had an amazing Thanksgiving. I know I had a great time with my family. Can't wait to travel back home, get back in the studio, get you the normal production quality that you are all so accustomed to, get the other co-hosts back, and get to keep this ball rolling as we get into our playoff push. So if you are new to the show, welcome. This is not the normal quality. I am Griffin. I am the host. There are normally two other co-hosts with me, Jason and CJ. You can find us here every Tuesday and Friday. And so make sure, if you are new, please make sure you subscribe. Hit that follow button, however it is that you subscribe to the show based on the platform that you are listening to us on. We are on iTunes and Google Play and Podcast Addict and Stitcher and Podcast Bean and various other streaming services. We are on YouTube. You can follow the show on Twitter at the FF Fanatics. If you want to support the show, help us keep doing what we're doing, head over to patreon.com/thefantasyfootballfanatics. Help us keep the lights on, these microphones recording, doing what we're doing. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Not a lot of headlines to get to today. The most important news was obviously the breaking news for people who were not going to play on Thursday. Obviously, there were 3 games on Thanksgiving, as per usual. The Lions played, the Cowboys played, and then there was the Sunday night game. So the first game, if you haven't seen the games, you're waiting to watch them, I would go ahead and skip forward 30 seconds because I'm going to run down the matchups really fast. Chicago traveled to Detroit and won 23-16. That was anticipated. The Redskins traveled to Dallas and lost 23-31. Dallas Cowboys. And then the Falcons, they started off well. They had some nice explosive plays early, but they ended up falling to the Saints. They were just outpaced. Saints 31 at home over the visiting Falcons 17. So those were your 3 games. I hope that everyone out there did remember to set your lineups. We made sure to remind you guys that on Tuesday's show. I sent out various reminders. Hopefully you had the players in that you wanted in and the ones out that you wanted out, because those players are now locked. But upside to that, if you had a really good performance or an underwhelming one, well, now you know if you need to shoot for the fences and go for a boom-bust play, or maybe you just want to ride the course out, stay the course that is, and try and get a nice, safe floor, maybe with some upside in there. So those are definitely the perks to having people who play on Thursday night. Obviously, anybody who's went the show for any period of time already knows this. So with that, let's get to why everybody's here. Some are of our starts and sits. Now, obviously, I'm all by myself, so we just have my recommendations for starts and sits this week, but hopefully this will help you guys at least a little bit. And we'll start off, as we do, position by position, starting with the starts of the week. And my start of the week at the quarterback position is Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, he has not been the most consistent guy this season, but players around him are starting to get healthy. He is good. He's at home against the Packers. I think that he could simply surprise people. Sunday Night Football, prime time, getting it done against the Green Bay Packers secondary, which is not the best, to say the least. So I expect a high-scoring affair in this game. I think that the Vikings have the defense to keep the Packers close, and I think that he's going to be able to give you a good stat line. The Packers defense, they're beatable, as we already know. So he would be my start of the week at the quarterback position. At the running back position, I am starting with confidence Nick Chubb. Divisional game, but we just saw the Cincinnati Bengals get run all over by the Ravens, who were predictably running every single play. And the Bengals also aren't very good. They've allowed 5.2 yards per average, per rusher. Sorry, I should say. Well, that is the average. And 6 touchdowns to opposing running backs since week 8. That is a stat that's provided by NFL.com. And that is about all you really need to say. Look, last time we saw Nick Chubb, he went out there and put up a 36-point game. He's got a good matchup against the Bengals. I like him to keep it going this week. I would be starting him with confidence. The Bengals defense is porous, to say the least. Starts at the wide receiver position. I'm going with a revenge match. Now, it's a very old revenge match, but it is still one. I am firing up Emmanuel Sanders. The Broncos are at home, hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers, his former team. Guys, unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know that the Steelers' defense is not elite. They are not the Steelers' defense of a decade ago. They are very beatable. They are very much an offensive team, and I like Emmanuel Sanders' chances to go up against his former team, the Steelers. The Steelers have surrendered 7 touchdowns and the 3rd most yards and the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing slot receivers this season. Guess where Emmanuel Sanders is lining up most of the time this season? from the slot. So I really like Emmanuel Sanders' chances of going out there in a revenge game type scenario to put up a good stat line. I think he gives you a pretty good floor and then obviously high ceiling upside. I'd be starting him with confidence. And then I mean, he was my target of the week for ad drops. I am definitely picking up Cameron Brate and playing him at the tight end position. The 49ers, not an elite defense. The whole situation with Cameron Brate is obviously a great one because O.J. Howard was placed on injured reserve. Jameis Winston is back. We've seen Jameis Winston love to use Cameron Brate in the past. They had a great connection. He could be a tight end one going forward for the remainder of the season. I like the chances. I like this matchup. I am starting Cameron Brate with confidence this week. Look, every tight end is a risk-reward scenario. We've the last couple weeks we've done this. We've given you about 6 or 7 guys who we considered studs, and then every single other tight end in fantasy football we considered a dud. So what are you doing here? I mean, it's a risk no matter who you start at the position. Even the guys you invested early in, like obviously Rob Gronkowski, have been letting you down this year for obvious injury reasons. Cameron Brate, he's got the recipe for success. I really like him a lot. I'd start him with confidence. It's a gamble, but one that could definitely pay off this week. Start Cameron Brate. And then, going to the sits, I am sitting Derek Carr. Going to the quarterback position, of course, running through again. Look, Derek Carr, he is on the road in Baltimore. The Raiders have not been elite. Let's say that. They have not been an elite offense. Amari Cooper is gone. They lost their starting running back with Marshawn Lynch. This offense is kind of falling apart, and they're going up against a Ravens defense, which is getting healthy. They're kind of getting right. They were the top-ranked defense for a good portion of the season. I still think they easily have that in them, and I think that they are going to do a very good job of pressuring Derek Carr, keeping him off his game, and I just don't see a way that Derek Carr gives you a very good performance. He's struggled to get you to what we consider the threshold for a passable game, which is 15 points a lot this season. I just don't see a way that the Raiders offense is able to put up a ton of points unless it is just a breakout, almost fluky performance. There are safer options out there against this very good Ravens defense who are going to be doing clock management. We saw it last week. They're going to run the ball, kill a lot of clock, which limits Derek Carr's opportunities, and then they've got that very good defense, which they're going to use to pressure him and shut down this team. I would look elsewhere. If I were you, I would not be starting Derek Carr. Running back sit of the week, I am sitting Lamar Miller. Now look, Lamar Miller, he's been actually pretty good for this entire month. He's put up a very good month, but he's got a tough matchup. He's going up against the Titans, which have allowed the third fewest points to opposing running backs this season, when on the road, of course. So, I mean, that's a weird stat to throw out there, but in general, they are a very good run defense. They are... It's a bad matchup, guys. I mean, there's plenty of competition for Lamar Miller. There's guys with very good matchups out there. I'm definitely looking elsewhere. Lamar Miller, it just feels dangerous. Look, if you're looking for a boom-bust play, this could be it. But I think that the risk is not worth the reward. I'm looking elsewhere than Lamar Miller this season, or this week, rather. Wide receiver sit of the week. I am sitting Larry Fitzgerald. Look, Larry Fitzgerald, he had a good week last week. But the problem is that he got, 2 touchdowns on 2 passes? So that's not exactly the workload that you're looking for fantasy football. That's not a safe floor. He's going against the Chargers, which I still think are one of the better defenses. They've got a lot of talent. I know the stats have not necessarily projected that, but the thing is, the Chargers defense have also surrendered the 5th fewest yards and to wide receivers. So it's going to be tough for Larry, guys. They've allowed the 3rd fewest fantasy points to opposing slot receivers. There's a lot of reasons why Larry Fitzgerald is a scary start this week. I know he's basically their offense in the passing game, but I'd be looking elsewhere. I would go somewhere else than Larry Fitzgerald on the road in Los Angeles. And my tight end set of the week, same game, opposite side of the ball, Antonio Gates. Guys, look, I know Antonio Gates went off for a massive, massive week last week. That was a fluke. We've been talking about this guy all season long. He is ancient. He is not able to be super mobile. He's going up against the Cardinals, which are very bad this year, but they are very, very good against opposing tight ends. So I expect that Phillip Rivers and this offense is going to go everywhere else but the tight end. So I would not be gambling on Antonio Gates, who scored 19 points last game, which is almost more than he scored all season long. It's just a bad idea, guys. Don't start Antonio Gates. And hopefully that's helpful. A little bit of insight on some of the games, some of my top starts and sits. If you guys have any other questions or people you're not sure about starting and sitting, make sure you submit your questions to on Twitter, obviously, at the FF Fanatics. So that's 3 Fs, at the FF Fanatics. Or you can follow me individually on Twitter. I'm at GPalmerFFF. Easiest way to do it. And we'll be back on Tuesday when we'll be talking about all these studs and duds from week number 12, top waiver wire targets for week number 13. The guys should be back, full show production value should be back, and guys, best of luck. I hope you really did have a great Thanksgiving. I hope you continue to have a great holiday weekend. Safe shopping if you are a holiday shopper for Black Friday through Cyber Monday, and guys, we'll see you then. Hopefully you're all making the playoff push like we are, and hey, we'll see you on the other side, guys. Take care, have a great weekend, see you on Tuesday. Bye.